Welcome back. It's time for another puzzle solving video on chess.com, and the reason that I do this hopefully is to get better at chess in general, but specifically to recognize the patterns, the tactical patterns that appear in games, and also just to get practice at calculation and figuring out what the best move is. If you're new here, I'm not a titled player, I'm not a chess coach, I'm just a random middle-aged person trying to get better at chess. I am going to follow my checklist. Hopefully it's on the screen there. I'm going to look for checks, captures, threats. I'm going to evaluate how much danger that I'm in, and hopefully we will figure some of these out. I had to check, but I am playing with the white pieces. My opponent has 2 passed pawns. Wow. I only have 1 passed pawn, and it looks like they're about to capture it. It looks like, in this puzzle, I only have a couple of choices. The very simple thing about these king and pawn endgames is usually you can't move some of your pieces. I can't move this piece, and I can't move this piece. The e-pawn and the h-pawn are stuck. My king I can move. I have a number of squares that I could move my king to. I think those are all of them. Oh, I could also take their b-pawn. I'm pretty sure that's a mistake. The reason I'm not looking for checks here is because I don't have any, by the way. In endgames where it's king and pawn, the goal, I think, of both players is to look for promoting a passed pawn. We can't win with just our kings, right? Okay, so back to my calculation here. If I take this pawn, I can't catch that one, and they promote in 3 moves. So I don't think I should move my king. And the same is going to be true for either one of those moves. That pawn's going to move forward. If I get in front of that pawn, I think they're going to take this one. And then what do? Go back? If I move over here, I can still catch that pawn because I can get beside it. But then they're going to take that pawn. And pretty soon they're going to get that one. Okay, and as I said, I can't move those 2. I'm pretty sure it's moving my g-pawn based on what we've seen so far. The reason is because it's a threat on their h-pawn, and it's a threat of creating a passed pawn if they don't take, right? If they do take, I have a passed pawn right here, 3 squares from promotion. If they don't take, I can just keep going. Wait, no, I think if they don't take, I take them. Let me see, if I take, well, it depends on what they do with their king, right? Well, they can't come here. But if I move forward again on my next move, and they've done something else, I don't know, like move that pawn, then they can take that, right? Then they catch my pawn. What are they going to do if I play that? I think they're going to take, and if they do, then I move this pawn, but they can still catch that one too. But then would I move this one? Let's see. If I move here and they take, I move my h-pawn forward. Now it's 2 squares from promotion. They can still catch it, but I think if they go toward it, I think I check with my e-pawn. They either have to go back and take it or get in front of it, but if they get in front of it, then I move my h-pawn again. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll move my e-pawn and check. If they don't take, then I can move my e-pawn again. I can keep moving the 2 pawns, and whichever one they take, then they can't stop the other one. I think that's what I'm going to play. I'm going to press the g-pawn forward. They did take. Okay, then it only makes sense to move my h-pawn. Of course, if they take here, then it's too late. If they move this one, let me keep the colors consistent. If they take my e-pawn, I move my h-pawn. If they move forward with the what if they move forward with the g-pawn? Those are their 3 choices right now. Besides what I already said, which is coming toward that one, and we already said what I would do then. I think if they push their g-pawn, then I'll push my h-pawn again. I think if they take this pawn, I'll move my h-pawn again. If I move there and they push their a-pawn, I have to take it. Otherwise, it gets passed. So let's push the h-pawn and see what they do. They came closer. Okay, we've already established they can catch my h-pawn, unless they stop to catch my e-pawn. The question is, should I move that first and let them get close and then move this? Because I think in that case, they can take it. And then when I move this, they have time to get back. Yeah, so I think I have to push this now. And if they take, then they cannot catch the h-pawn. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure if I move the h-pawn, they can catch both of them. But if I move the e-pawn now, they cannot catch both of them. So let's try that. They went toward the h-pawn. Okay, then I've got to move this one. Because then when they take, they can't catch this one. Got the colors mixed up again, but that's okay. That was a lot of moves. I've already spent too much time on this one. I'm going to go on to the next puzzle. My opponent has somehow gotten a queen back here behind my king, and my king is out in front of the pawns. Generally speaking, we do not want our king out in front of our pawns. I have some checks, which is going to be the first thing that we're looking for. That's a check, that's a check, that's a check with the queen, but all of those lose my queen. I also have 2 checks with the knight. I just noticed that that's going to be a double check. You know what? Actually, anywhere I move my knight will be a check. That almost looked like a you-know-what symbol, but anyway, anywhere I move the knight is going to be check, so I'm guessing that's it. Now, I will say that in a game, I would play this check. Knight to d7, check with the rook, because then on the next turn I would win their queen. I don't know if that will leave me up material. Let's see, what is the material situation right now? I'm down to 1 knight, 1 bishop, 1 rook, and a queen. My opponent also has 1 knight and 1 bishop and a queen, but they have 2 rooks. My opponent is up an entire rook right now. So if I did any of the other checks, like say knight to f7, sorry, knight to f3, that's a double check. They can't block it or capture the knight because the rook and the knight are checking the king. So it would only have one choice. Oh, it's that one, isn't it? Yeah, because then my next move would be mate. Oh yeah, I'm glad I looked and I was about to discount that because I thought, well, afterwards, you know, I'm going to have a hard time checking the king and then their queen is still down here. This way wins the queen. But this way I think wins the game. Because again, they can't capture the knight because the rook is also checking. They only can move out of check. They can't go here because my queen and my knight are cutting off that square. My rook, of course, is hitting here. So their only legal move would be to go to d1 and then queen to d2 is mate. And that doesn't work if I check over here with the knight because then nothing's guarding d2 and I would not be able to checkmate. So I think it's knight to f3. Oh, I hope this is right. Oh, and it stopped even though they only have 1 legal move. Why did it stop? Oh, I'm glad I got that right. It only has a 33% pass rate. Suggest theme? Well, I can't put mate in 2 since they didn't move. Oh, I got that one a little faster. Let's go to the next puzzle. Oh, I'm in check. Oh, I don't like the ones where it starts where I'm in check, especially when I have so many ways to get out of check. Okay, let's just eliminate what I cannot do. I cannot capture the checking piece. I cannot block because queens and rooks don't move that way, not even with magical spells. So I cannot block, I cannot capture the checking piece, I can only move my king. I have 4 options to get out of check, and one of those is better than the rest. I'm going to say it's not h5. I think that one's worse than the rest because I think that's checkmate, queen to g4. Okay, would the same thing be true if I went to f5? They could still come forward and check, and then I would be forced out here, and then maybe they would, no, they wouldn't, I don't think, because I would take with my queen. Okay, so that one's a little bit better. f5 is a little better than h5. h5 loses immediately, so let's not go there. But this one does allow a follow-up check. What about f6? f6 also allows a follow-up check. This, however, king to h7 does not allow a follow-up check. I mean, they have a legal check here on g7, but then I would just take their queen, so I don't think they're going to do that. It's got to be h7, right? But then what do they play? Because very few, I don't know that I've ever had a puzzle where I moved out of check and that was the only move of the puzzle. So I'm guessing after I play king to h7, which is what I'm going to play, because it's the only one that doesn't allow another safe check, then what are they going to do? They're not going to waste time by capturing this pawn, right? Because I'm taking this knight, I think. What if they move this pawn up? After I play king to h7, what if they play f3, which defends the knight with the queen and challenges this pawn, which already has a challenger on it? Wait, I have 2 defenders on that pawn, though. I'm going to play king to h7 and then find out what they play. Fingers crossed. Oh, they took that. Oh, they have a passed pawn. Well, I did not take that into consideration. I suppose now I will take this knight with check. I am still guarding the promotion square currently, since they did not defend the knight another way like I thought they were going to do. I think they have to take, right? If I take the knight, that's check. If they don't take it, they'll have to move up here, and then that's mate. So I think they have to take it, then I'll take with my queen, and then they will move up there, and then what? I think I still have to keep guarding the promotion square with this rook. I don't know. That's what I'm going to play. Okay. There is another move. Oh my goodness. Maybe the puzzle should have started here. Okay, let's go back to the checklist. Neither of those checks are safe, and I think those are my only checks. Wait, is there a way I can win this pawn without having to continue guarding this promotion square from here? I mean, if I moved up one, I would be hitting 2 rear pawns and still guarding this promotion. Oh, wait, no, they're going to come here next, aren't they? Just hypothesizing. If I'm trying to think of what the most innocuous move that I could play is, but let's say I played f6 or h5. I don't think either one of those moves do anything to them. So let's say I played a do-nothing move like that. I think their next move is taking my c-pawn, because that guards the promotion square and protects their b-pawn. I can protect my c-pawn this way, but then that doesn't guard the promotion square anymore. Okay, I think it has to be this queen move that protects the c-pawn this way, right? That's the danger here for me currently. I'm ahead on material now, but I don't yet have a passed pawn. They have one square from promotion. Oh, wow. I'm going to play queen to a5. It feels iffy, but I don't see anything else. I have to guard the c-pawn, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait. I only lost 3 points for that. Is that because I got the first however many moves right? But I had to guard the c-pawn, didn't I? And surely it wasn't moving it, because then their queen's guarding the promotion square directly. What just happened? Okay, it went back into the puzzle. I don't know why. Wait, was I supposed to not care about the promotion square? Was that irrelevant? Sorry, it says it's unrated. I'm gonna click the hint button. It was to move my... Really? That's what they were gonna do? Now I have to go get this pawn. Wait, it's still going? What? I have to take it, right? Okay, that puzzle was rated 2348. And it also has a very low pass rate. I think that's the highest rated puzzle I've ever been presented with, but there was only one move that I missed. Now I'm going to go to the analysis board and see why, or try to figure out, wait, is that what it looked like at the beginning? Good grief. The board was empty at the end. Look at that. Well, first they moved this. Okay, that was a blunder that gave me a very narrow advantage. That's not a lot. Okay, I've noticed that the higher rated the puzzles get, the less difference there is between the first and second move on the evaluation. On the very low rated puzzles, one move will be equal, like zeros, and the next move will be mate in one or something. The higher rated the puzzles get, the smaller the distances between that. One will be close to 0 or slightly above or slightly below, and then the other one will be -1.5. So I think that might be the highest rated puzzle I've ever attempted. Certainly it's in the top 2 or 3. Okay, king to h7 was the only move that made sense. Really, it said these two were barely losing. Fairly close to even. Okay, but that one would have been mate in one, right? I just want to see. Yeah, okay, mate in one. I was right about that. Okay, so I did right. They took this pawn, which I did not expect, but that was their best move, because I wasn't even paying attention to that. And then I figured this out. That made sense. They basically had to take it, or it was mate in one, like we said. And then I take, and they get out. Okay, queen to a5 was drawish. That's what I played. Still, there's not a huge difference between that. -1 is not necessarily winning for somebody at my level. Even in an end game, which we've gotten down to, I'm a piece ahead, but they have a passed pawn. Okay, so why, when I pushed this forward, didn't they take this pawn? Or why didn't they take this one with their pawn, which is their best move? It says this is their best move, which they did not play in the puzzle. In the puzzle, they took with the queen. And then the reason that I took with my queen instead of my rook is because I still need my rook back here. And I didn't say that during the puzzle because I was already lost by this point, and I was just playing the unrated version. But also I was overwhelmed by how many moves there were in this thing. But why is that better, and why don't they just take here? Then what do I do? Okay, then I'm going to take this with my queen. That's what it says. If they had played that pawn move and I took with my queen, no, that's what it said, right? Oh no, take their queen. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was messed up. If I took the pawn with my queen and they took, then I took, then they would promote and have another queen. Okay, so here, if they had taken with the pawn, this is my only move. And then do I have another? Yeah, it should have gone the correct way. Wait, it would have ended up the same. That's the same, isn't it? Except where their king is. So the other way worked out better for me, which is why this was their better move. Because here their king is one place closer. The way the puzzle actually went. That pawn was there, my rook was here, and their best move is a4. But their king's in a slightly different position, because if we went the normal way, they took with their queen, which was not their best move, and I took with my queen, and they took with their pawn, and I played rook to b8. Yeah, see, it's the same position as before, but their king's back there. This pawn ended up here anyway, but look where their king is. That's why they should have taken with the pawn first. Then when I took their queen, their king would be out here, and I still would have played this move, and now their best move is to bring their king, not to play a4, and I'm a move ahead. But in the puzzle, they played c5, which is not among their top 3 moves. And of course, it only made sense to take here. I'm pretty sure that if they had played their best move, it still would have been my best move to take the pawn. But now it doesn't matter. I can play this. I can take the pawn. I can play g5, and I'm still fine. Wow. But just to be clear, I had to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves in that puzzle. Good grief. Okay, one more time. And it had to be this pawn move, which I didn't expect. I forgot already. What was so bad about the queen over here to protect my c-pawn? I didn't even check what was so bad about that, how they could have pulled a draw out of that. Okay, but it had to be this, and then this, and then this, and then this. I don't remember what my rating dropped to after that, but I have time for at least one more puzzle on my end, so let's try it. Okay, that's higher than I started this video, right? So even, because oh, that's right, I only lost 3 points for that. I think I got 5 for the first one, 5 for the second one. Okay, so I better not miss this one. This is still part of the opening. I haven't castled, I haven't developed my knight. What's going on? They've just castled. So my opponent is fully developed, but I'm not. I'm pretty sure I don't have any checks, so we can ignore that. I do have a couple of captures, but they don't look great. I said a couple. I think I only have one capture, and it's this pawn, right? That's the only piece I can currently capture. I don't think that's it. They'll take back with the knight, and I could get this knight, and then they would take back, and then they would be ahead out of that. And also, I have never once, even the times that I thought it was right, never once seen a puzzle where castling was the best move. I could be proven wrong here, but I haven't seen that. There were a couple of puzzles that I thought castling is what I would have played in a game, so I tried it. It was not right. So I'm not going to consider castling. I'm not going to consider this. I'm pretty sure I end up down at, oh, also that undefends the bishop. If I take here, they take here. Let's say I take the knight. Oh no, the bishop's still defended by the queen though. Okay, but they would still take back the knight and they would be ahead. Okay, so it's a threat or an attack, as what's his name says, CCA. I for some reason I do CCT. Checks, captures, and threats. I can threaten the knight. But then where does it go? Does it go anywhere dangerous? I don't think so. It could go back. But then what? Oh, there I could take it. Maybe that is a valid threat. If I play e5, I assume they'll move it. Nothing else of theirs is hanging right now, so I assume they would move the knight back. That's the only, wait, it could also go back there. It would go to one of those two squares. Would one be better than the other one? If it went back to e2, I could take it with my bishop, but they could take back with their other knight. But then that undefends this pawn, which I could take, threatening their queen. And then I would also be threatening, I don't know. But that's the only threat that I see off, like, oh no, I have a threat on the bishop. Should I do that first? Right now, the bishop is not really hurting me, but it's kind of pointed in there at f7, so I don't like that. If I threaten the bishop, will it hit here? Wait, if it did, I can just take with my king. And then do they have anything? I don't think so. Okay, so maybe it's one of those two. Well, hopefully I just edited out a long period of me staring at the board and not figuring this out. But I did think more about those two pawn moves. This, I think, doesn't really hurt anything. Because the bishop could step back and keep pointing here, I don't think it'll actually take. But worse, what I thought is it could step forward, aiming at my rook. And I could take it with this knight, but then they can take back with their knight, and they have a knight in here helped by this pawn. So I don't think that helps me, right? If they, I don't know, they might not step in. They might not want to trade a bishop for a knight, but they might, because they're threatening my rook. I would have to do something about it. So if I took, and they took, oh, and then that knight would be poised to hop here, which is a fork of my rook and queen. So I would be helping them, I think, if I played that. The other one, I think we already determined they could hop back over to b3 and be fine. Then what do I do? I think we said if they went down there, I could take, and they could take, and then I could hit this pawn, which threatens their queen, but then their queen could just move, and I don't know where it would move. It might just move to h4. And then when I went down there, I would be threatening the rook, but it would just move, and then I would hit this bishop. It can't be that, right? Also, that assumes a lot. I don't know that on each one of those stages that's what they would play. And that's if they play the knight there after I threaten it with e5, they move this knight here, which I don't think they would do. I assume they would move it over there, but I don't know. They might move it in here, where a pawn protects it. That seems unlikely. We would end up with lots of captures right there, but what was my sub-checklist for threats? Checkmates, and I don't think I have any mate threats here. Like, I'm not threatening mate, even if they left their queen there. Wait, the other thing was undefended or trapped pieces, but the queen isn't trapped. Sorry, I just did this joking about checkmate threats, but the other thing under threats was trapped or undefended pieces. All of their pieces are defended except their bishop, but the queen is the one that looks a little trapped, but it's not completely trapped, I don't think. Also, we think we already said we can't really get to the bishop right now. Can we? Bring this back? I want to get rid of the bishop before I look more at the queen, but they can just trade there. So I don't think it's the bishop. If I had some way to trap it, but it's undefended, but it can easily run away and it's going to be fine. The queen, however, if I play knight to h5, obviously my bishop is guarding those squares, and from this new spot, my knight would be guarding f4. My queen is protecting the bishop on g4, but the queen could go here. And then while the knight is still protected by the pawn, sorry, I'm running out of colors. While the knight's still protected by the pawn and the bishop is still protected by the queen, I could put this bishop on f6 and then the queen would be trapped. I've already spent a lot of time on this puzzle. I have no idea. I think I came up with a downside to all of these. There were a bunch of that I didn't consider, like pushing this pawn they would just take. That looks bad. No checks available. I think I can get the queen for a piece here. No, they would block with the bishop. What do I do when they block with the bishop? Okay, well, I've gone way past my 30 minutes. I just noticed here in my recording software, and even if we take out the long pause earlier, this is past 30 minutes for me. I don't know what they do if they block with the bishop. What am I missing? I'm missing something. Maybe that's not it. Okay, I'm probably going to fail this one too, but I've spent too much time on it. I have to play knight to h5. Okay, that was right. I'm pretty sure it's not the pawn move because they can just take that pawn. What am I missing? Still no checks, right? Yeah, I still do not have any checks. I have fewer captures now than I did before because the knight was pointed at that. But wait, oh, I've opened, wait. Now that the knight's not in the way, my bishop is pointed at their knight, which is protected by their bishop. Then I was worried about blocking my bishop pointed at their queen. Okay. So maybe I shouldn't worry about their bishop because if I check here, sorry, that's not check. Okay, yeah, it's been almost 40 minutes for me. Okay, that's not check. I'm threatening their queen, and I was worried that they would block with their bishop. But if they do, their bishop's not defending the knight anymore because it can't do both. Okay, so if I go here, if they do block, I get the knight free. Oh, but then they have two pieces pointed at this, but I have two pieces defending it. Right? Okay. What else can they do? Can they do anything else? Okay, the bishop is the only piece that can block, and the queen is now trapped. That's what I'm going to do. If they block with the bishop, I'm going to take the knight. Let's hope that's right. That is what they did. Okay, but now it's really easy to see that the bishop is no longer on e3 protecting the knight. Oh, I don't know if it's that or not. It has to be, right? It's a free piece. That one was only rated 1692. What? You know what? For me, this one was harder than the one that I missed, I think. The one that I missed, I only failed one move, right? It was a 7-move puzzle, and I failed the 3rd or 4th move, whatever it was. But I think overall, taking the whole puzzle, I still don't understand that one move, to be honest. But taking the whole puzzle overall compared to that entire puzzle, this one was harder for me to see. And it was only rated 1692, but it also has a very, very low pass rate of 30-something%. Themes were decoy deflection. Okay, that I was deflecting the bishop from the defense of the knight. Okay. Fianchetto was a theme. I don't think that should be a theme. Remove the defender. Okay. Trapped piece. Well, I got it, but I feel exhausted. So thank you for spending your time here. I do appreciate it. And I appreciate any tips, questions, general comments in the comment section. That's what it's for. Try not to insult me too bad if you think I messed up pretty hard here, but say it kindly. Anyway, you comment how you want. If it's really bad, I'll delete it. And I'll see you in the next one.